Hi, everybody. I know most of you, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm Rick Winston. And I've been constructing these puzzles, Crostic puzzles, for the Times Argus since 2006. Before that, I was doing them for the Bridge, but that got to be, we'll run it if, depending on how many ads we take in. And if they got too many ads, they would just bump the puzzle. That got very frustrating. So I'm working backwards. Before that, does anybody who's lived here for a while remember a little alternative newspaper called Northern Spy? I think there were maybe 5 or 6 issues. I remember it well because my son was one of the editors. And that's when I first started getting these puzzles published. My inspiration for doing it was you hear about these kids who are usually boys, usually about 10 or 12 years old. They take apart a radio and try to put it back together to see how it works. Well, that was basically my inspiration. I was doing the puzzles in the New York Times. How do they do this? What are the principles? And I see the quote has to have the same letters that, well, anyway, once I started, that was it for me. It turned out that they were as much fun to construct as they were to solve. So you've had enough time to digest all this. We were talking about the Crostic was, no. It was not invented in Akron, Ohio. That was, that is the Greek word. It's funny, because they say end, but I say head. It is one end of the line. So here's an example. This is a poem by Lewis Carroll. And if you just look at the first letters of each line, Alice, Pleasance, Liddell, Alice in Wonderland. So it's a poem he wrote for her. This form has been around for a long time. You know, Elizabethan poets used it, love poems that had, spelling out the loved one's name with each letter starting a line. So the modern Crostic, the Crostic puzzle in which you get a quote and you're supposed to solve what the quote is, by all accounts started with the grand dame of crossword puzzles, Margaret Farrar, who was the crossword editor of the New York Times from, I think, the late 30s to the mid 50s. Solvers of all kinds worship at her shrine. For a while, the New York Times Crostic puzzle on Sundays, which is the one that was kind of my first introduction, was done by a guy named Thomas H. Middleton. And they were very frustrating. I felt very like I did not have nearly as good an education as you needed to do these puzzles. There were quotes from Sophocles, and he was fond of quoting the Greeks and the Latin writers. And so when he retired, the column was taken over by 2 younger, very hip people, and that is Emily Cox and Henry Rathbone. They just retired 2 years ago they were doing the Times Crostic puzzle for 25 years and brought it into the 20th century and 21st with more recent cultural references that everybody would get. They became my mentors. I've never met them, but they are incredibly friendly people. And we've had a very lively email relationship for now 25 years. And I said, I'm just starting out doing these puzzles. And they would give me some pointers. And they pointed me to a friend of theirs named Mike Schenk, who invented his own program for constructing these Crostics. And they were generous enough to pass that on to me. And you'll see how wonderful this program is. Unfortunately, the program is not supported by every new Mac laptop I've gotten, so I have to use my laptop that I got in 2012. So here is an old puzzle from the Argus that I constructed. You okay, Lawrence? Yeah. Yeah. This also doubles as an eye chart. I'll just point out a few things. So right away, I got the answer Passage to India because of the E.M. Forster novel. I'm filling in a few words. But then you look at the puzzle, and here are the few things that come in handy when you're doing one of these things. The chances are like 90% that a three-letter word with H in the middle, especially if it starts a sentence, will be the. A three-letter word with a blank space in the middle is probably going to be AND. A word with there is probably it or at. This is probably going to be it has or it was. So unlike a crossword puzzle, as you fill in, you can fill in the grid and then bring the letters down to where the clues are and start filling in the words. So you're constantly going back and forth. If something has an N in the next to last spot, ooh, maybe that has a G. So you got the G and the I before the NG. Henry and Emily were very, very clever in constructing some of their Times crossword puzzles, because if you have, this one doesn't have it, it will have something that could be of or if. It's probably the, of the. There was one puzzle where, okay, there's one letter, so it's probably A or I. No, it was F, and it was D. And I said, these people are very clever. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I know these answers are right. Well, it turned out to be a quote about the pianist Rachmaninoff, whose stretch went from F to to B above, you know. So some of these can be very tricky. Anyway, and that's what here's what it looks like when it's all filled in. So the idea is you have a quote, and they're broken down into clues, and then P-A-U-L, Paul, Searles, to Vermont's. So that's where the Crostic parts comes in. The end of the clue, in other words, the beginning of the clue, the letters that start all the clues in order from A to U in this case, will spell out the author and the book that it's from. Devilishly clever, wouldn't you say? So one of the things I found out when I started doing these puzzles is that all the letters of the author's name have to be in the little passage that you, otherwise it's not going to work. And I'll give you a great example of that. So today, and I've done this for Poem City once, maybe twice before, take a poem by a Vermont author, and we're going to all do it together. That is, construct it together. And there's the poem. Reuben Jackson died just this past year, a wonderful man by all accounts. So, now that we've seen that, now we see So this program by Mike Schenk, you put in the quote, you put in the author's name, and then over on the right, it'll break down, it'll give you the letter breakdown, which is very helpful. But if Reuben Jackson's name was, say, for argument's sake, Reuben Jackson, look what happens over there. Say, you can't do that. So it is very important when you're looking for a quote, it should be pithy. You can just say, Sam Spade came to the door and his secretary was there and he said, hello, how are you? That's not what you want. You want something that stands alone as as something you might say, oh, I wish I had said that. So here is the enter words. Okay.
You can't shrink that window? You can't shrink that window so you don't have to keep moving?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Upper right corner? Just drag it down?
Yeah.
Upper left corner?
Nope.
No, I mean the window itself, the thing labeled Crostic's.
Yeah.
Grab the upper, grab a corner, grab
Yeah,
a corner.
yeah.
And shrink it. There you go.
Okay, I'm done with this. You're going to edit all this out, right? Now here is a new problem. Oh, I know why.
You still got the Z.
I still got the Z. And now we can enter the words. And this window is refusing to shrink for some reason.
It shrank vertically, it didn't shrink horizontally.
Okay, well this will be good enough for our purposes. So once you go to the enter words, you will see that everything is set up in order. Reuben Jackson to Montpelier. So there are all your first letters of all your clues going from A to Y. And this is what I would call, I hope I don't regret saying this, an easy one to solve, because there's only an average word length of 6.32. Usually the quotes are between 6.5 and 8. You know, so the higher the number of the average letter of each word, the harder it's going to be for you to make up those words that are that long. Is that clear? Here's another very important part. It's really awful to be stuck with too few vowels. So you really want a nice average of vowels per word. And 2 is good. Anything under 2, you have to struggle and make up words like first, which is like 4 consonants to 1 vowel or something like that. So in the beginning, I take a look at what's over here. What's going to be a problem? And this is a little like Scrabble in that you don't want to be left with the X and the Q and the J when you've filled almost everything in. And it's a little like a jigsaw puzzle too, that you'd like to finish the puzzle with, I've got one piece and one place where it goes. So the idea is to get that 6.32 down to like 4. So if you were left with just one clue to fill in and you've got 4 letters, it can be better than if you were down to 1 clue and you have 7 letters. Once again, it's going to be easier to demonstrate than to explain. And I've actually never found out how other people do this. So what you're going to get here is the things that I've picked up, and that is I like to start with filling in the words that begin with vowels. They seem to be the hardest to if you're down to you need two more answers and you've got an I and an E. It's harder than if you have an S or a T or an R. So and when I'm doing the clues, I like to mix. You know, if you say, if you give a clue that says kind of bad weather, there could be snowstorm, it could be rainstorm, there could be many answers to that. There's only going to be one right one, but there could be many. So I like to at least sprinkle the puzzle with things for which there is one and only one answer. And that will usually be an author, a movie, a person, like that, or a geographical place. So, Erica.
Do you want to squander too many vowels in a single word, or do you kind of save them up?
I don't. I kind of don't look at the vowel distribution until I'm like halfway through, where I say, uh-oh, I better redo some of these words.
I need to buy a vowel.
Yeah.
I also wonder if you would, my gut would start with the trickier consonant, like the J or something like that, just to kind of get it out of the way.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Well-known person whose name begins with J.
All I can think of is Jerry Lewis, which is really embarrassing.
That's,
Well, there's no
Oh,
W.
that's a good one. I like hers better.
there's no W. Sorry, you're out of luck. How about Jerry Maguire, the movie with Tom Cruise?
That takes care of the
That
Y.
I hated with a passion. Yeah.
That doesn't count, Mary.
Oh, you could put that in there.
Did you? Is there a problem with that?
No, it takes care of the Y, it takes care of one of the Ys.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that we.
It uses up 2 of your R's.
Okay, now
Jerry
keep.
Maguire, Jerry
Oh, Jerry,
Maguire.
yeah. Steve keeps me honest. Now I will tab and watch what happens to the word length. See, we brought it down to 6. 608.
And that's just dividing the total number, the 122 by the main number of clips, right? The 122 by 24, presumably.
I don't pay any attention to the letters, that's how many letters you have left to disperse. All right, so I'll do the I. Who's one of my favorite people.
Oh, good one.
I was thinking Imogene Coca.
Oh, we
Dating
can.
myself here.
Let's see. Do we have? No, I'm afraid that's the only I. That would use up both of our C's. Okay, so that's good for starters. Anybody want to take an O?
Got an E.
Okay, go ahead.
Elixir.
Oh, good.
Take care of the X.
And we have to
Or you?
Unequal.
Unequal. But we don't have a Q.
Oh. Unlit.
When in doubt, there are thousands of words that begin UN.
Exactly.
Until.
Yeah.
like Upton, as in Sinclair.
Upton, or let's see, Upton or until.
Work and they use Upton.
Yeah, let's save the L. And
Or urgent.
urgent. Yeah, well, and here's another thing. Let's save the G. We only have one G,
Yeah.
and that might come in handy with an ING ending. All right. Anybody want to take an?
Rick, when you do these, do you try to do things that are contemporary? Or, I'm curious as to who the audience is. If you have
Yeah.
people like,
Pat is asking me who the audience is,
Yeah.
and it's
if you
really,
don't know who these people are, it's not going to work.
yeah.
And if you have pop culture figures, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
How do you make a blend of
I think you try to aim for a mix,
some mix?
and that's what Henry and Emily do when they have.
I ask this because there's a game called Connections in the New York Times.
Oh, you did it. This was a hard one this
It was a
morning.
hard one, and sometimes the difficult.
Yeah,
purple
the pop
will be
culture.
references
Forget
to
it.
people that
Yeah.
I don't know because it's
Yeah,
pop culture.
yeah.
Only use the one.
See, one of the
You gotta find out, you want to make a mix, you're saying.
yeah, one of the things that always makes me smile is running into two different people on the street on the same day, and at 10 o'clock I'll run to somebody. That was so hard. I had to go to the dictionary, and the 2 o'clock. That was too easy. Could you make that harder? So I think it depends. Sometimes, if there are sports things, some people will not know that. If there are, I have yet to do rappers. I've learned to name a lot of rappers doing the crossword puzzles, but so.
How about Oklahoma for an O?
Say again?
How about Oklahoma for an O?
Oklahoma. And that's probably going to bring it down to, 590 again, good. Oh, okay, now that J is going to be tricky.
Juice.
But we already used J.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, now it can't be the first letter. It's got to be,
Well, unless we displace during the what?
yeah.
Oh.
No, but,
Oh, I see what you mean.
yeah, but we need somebody who's last, maybe
Elton John,
Elton John.
Elton blank.
Very good. Okay. we have two more O's, an E, and an A. And there are no V's. I sometimes like to immediately go to overwhelm or overdue or something like that.
Oyster. The O and the Y. Oyster.
Oyster. Now, one thing we can do is make that oysters. And if we need an S, we can always borrow it back. That's what I love about this program.
You've got a spurious S and include P. You're an answer P.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What are people reading? That's always a good spur.
Argus. As in Times Argus.
Times Argus?
No, just Argus.
Argus?
Rick, apropos of the discussion we were having earlier, you could do Blue Moon for the D.
Ah, great, and look how many O's we have to play with.
Yes.
All right, getting down.
Eensy.
Eensy?
I was just looking at all the
Oh.
E's and S's.
Whoop, one extra E.
I'll go ahead, throw another E in there.
Yeah, nobody will notice.
Oh, just say variation at the end.
Variation, yeah. Variation that covers a lot of ground.
Doesn't H have a T? Is it E?
T in there?
I think it can be anything.
Yeah.
It could be
Well,
anything you want.
then we can say Eensy variation.
There.
Um,
That's very good.
I see.
Another one that can be challenging is words beginning with K. There are not nearly as many. Yes, you in the front row.
Ocean.
Ocean. Very good. Do you mind if I make that oceans?
You're trying to use up S's, does Nostradamus work?
You see,
I
with
have to double check the spelling.
this is another way that this is like Scrabble, because sometimes you want to hold on to your S's. There's no, you can always tack on S's at the end, usually. Elixirs.
So if we have to start something with K, do we have to get rid of Oklahoma because
No.
there's only one K?
Ah,
No, that K is the first letter, and that's already accounted for.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I was
that's
confused about that too.
Yeah. So this program has given you all your first letters,
Ah,
and then over on the right is everything else you're going to use.
Great, that's very helpful. So, knees,
K-R-I-S.
knight,
kimchi.
Nave.
K-O,
K-R-I-S, Chris Christopherson.
ah,
But I just heard somebody say kimchi.
kimchi, that's
cheese,
more exotic, yes. Kimchi.
E.
Hmm? I think that's, it's I, isn't it?
variation.
Yeah. And then there's kimchini. All right, now this is good. All right, now at this point, I'd go back to the assigned letters and see, are there any problems? Sometimes F can be a problem, and H. Do we have any T's? Let's put yes.
Cuttlefish.
Kettlefish?
Cuttlefish with a C.
Oh, cuttlefish.
Cuttlefish. How do you spell it? I don't know if we have
Oh, we're out
enough
of L's.
T's. Oh, we're out of L's.
I think it's 2 T's.
Oh, is it T or D's?
TT.
It's T's, but we,
Oh,
Yeah.
there's no L's.
Cuttlefish would be another thing entirely, wouldn't it?
oh, but it's not gonna tell you about the L until you hit tabs.
Oh, yes, we don't have any L's to use. So, any other words that begin with C-U-T?
Cute.
Cutie,
Cutie.
cutie.
We're gonna change cuttlefish to cutie.
All right. So let's work on that TH.
Thief.
Thread.
Theory, okay, that will be good. No, I like thief better,
Yeah.
because that'll get rid of the F.
Did you erase kimchi along the way?
Oh, I think I might have done that by accident.
Yeah.
All right. So now, we're edging back up to 6. So let's get some 7 or 8 letter words or phrases. Phrases are also good.
Roommate.
Roommate. Okay. Yes.
Moths.
How do you,
Moths from his name.
a moth?
Moths.
M-O-T-T-S, like the applesauce.
Oh, moth.
Well, moth would work.
Very good.
Moths is a good one.
Okay. Oh, I see. Nope, I don't. How about, oop. All right, this is good, because we're back down to, let's get rid of that H somehow. It could be SH something, or another TH.
Hasty? H-A-S-T-Y, hasty?
But there's no opening H.
Yeah, there's no opening for an
Oh,
H.
I'm sorry.
You could do tasty with the T.
Shady?
Shady.
Oh, they're funny.
You could do shade tree if you wanted to polish off a few other letters.
Yeah.
We need 7 more words though. We're
Yeah.
running a little short of letters.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, let's put shade tree in there. And if need be, we can take those letters back. Oh, we're under 5. Okay, let's work on the remaining E. That's clue number X.
Well, east,
East, how about easy?
that too. One choice,
Uh,
one choice.
Whoops, easy.
L could be last.
Last,
The least. Oh,
mm-hmm.
He could be petty.
Yeah.
And Tom petty.
You know, this is blowing right in my ear.
Oh, sorry. I was suggesting petty for the P.
Petite also.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. It'll be nice to not be hamstrung by that one extra Y. So this is good, you know, you want to get down to a few and you still have the letters that you're left with are very common ones. So there are all kinds of possibilities.
Nose for the N.
Nose,
Yeah, we got lots.
What about no one?
no one.
Or none.
No one uses
Hmm. All right.
Keys?
T,
No, we only have one E.
9.
9.
P-A-S.
But then you have two A's and two S's.
Okay,
And two eyes in.
Yeah,
so
no, that's not it.
I'm remembering the Russian news agency. All right, so here we go. This is what I think of as the end game.
So stick the I in nose and make it noise.
Ah, great. Now I have an idea for the A, but I want to hear your ideas. Now here's where if I had a W, we could change Upton to Uptown.
That wouldn't help with the A.
No. If the A were an E, we could change mots to motets.
Change petty to petey?
But then we'd have another, then we'd have an extra T, which is not terrible.
Petey and then easy becomes east.
Then we have a Y.
Mm,
And I always still have a Y left. And then we have.
Well, we could make Lassie with the Y.
yeah. That's not the way,
I-E.
Yeah.
with an IE, yeah.
Or an I in India.
Well, we can take the easy way out.
We could make noisy and put the E somewhere.
Easy A.
I never did see that movie, did you?
It's funny.
I hear it's very funny, yeah. Okay, we've done it. We've done the big hard step. Now there's some more steps.
We have to make up clues.
See this assigned letters? This is what I love about this program. Bingo!
That is confusing.
It did all the letter assignments.
Wow.
So, does everybody get what we're looking at?
No.
All right, take a look at the top line of each group of two.
That's the poem.
It's the poem.
Yeah, I see that.
The bottom line of the poem is which clue that letter, where that will go. So this will become, again, obvious when we go to the next step. Export grid. Drag them up here. Export blanks. All right. So here we go. Here is the poem and all the answers we came up with. And here is going to be our grid.
Do you want clues now?
Clues,
Strutters.
strutters. Or magic potion, maybe?
Magic potions.
Whoops.
Typo.
Manic potion.
That too.
Yeah.
Upton should be simpler, right?
There's also, oh no.
Or I could, what, because I could say Arthur Sinclair
No, I
or.
was thinking of the wrong word.
Mhm.
Thinking of Lipton.
Oh.
For the tea.
It's funny, Mary Andrea is reading an Upton Sinclair novel right
Oh,
now.
no kidding, the jungle?
It's called Oil. And it's evidently what the movie There Will Be Blood was based on. Okay, Blue Moon, Steve.
That happens every once in a while.
Oh,
I'd like to,
Once in a blank,
Rare
or
occurrence.
Marcel's 1950s hit.
how about Rogers and Hart song commemorating a rare event?
Sure.
You must be paid by the word. That's a long.
Incy.
Itsy bitsy.
Very little.
Like the spider?
Very little's good because it
Yeah.
could make you think of like, all kinds of things.
And should I say variation? No.
Or you could just say tiny too.
Maybe I should spell very with two W's. No one. Samantha, you want to take that one?
I wasn't thinking of a clue for that.
So there's a Beatles song, features the words "for no one." Can't remember what the song.
Well, that's a Beatles song.
For no one.
Beatles, yeah,
Yeah, that's the name of the
Yeah.
song.
yeah.
There you go.
So it could be Beatles song for blank.
Two words.
Not really.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire. So wasn't that the movie where the
Show me the
tagline,
money.
"Show me the money"?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can you just say, show me the money?
"Show me the money" film.
I hated that movie with such a passion.
You remember it, apparently.
Because so many lines were quoted from it, they're all icky lines. Completely.
Somebody said it's too bad Tom Cruise came along because it would have been a great name for a porn star. Argus.
Well, it's a bird, it's also a paper. Is it a bird, is it a paper?
Argus is a bird, really?
Yeah, isn't that,
It is?
isn't it some sort of like an ancient, I can picture it like the phoenix rising from the,
I got the, no, I don't want to leave my site.
no, don't leave your site.
There's a Harry Potter character.
Common, how about a common newspaper name?
Sure.
But it's not.
The uncommon newspaper,
Yeah.
occasional newspaper.
Local newspaper.
It's a watchman in Greek mythology.
That's, okay, there we go, Lawrence.
Ulysses' dog was Argus.
That's right. Watchman.
Ulysses' dog, that's a great clue, actually. That would send me to
That's intended
the Google.
Absolutely.
There's a shipbuilder named
Cutie.
Patootie. It always followed it,
Kind of pie.
really?
Kind of pie.
Cutie.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
Or
that is a
blank, or
good one.
blank pie.
Blank Pie.
No, I like kind of pie with a question mark.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, crossword culture.
Kimchi.
Korean ferment.
Sticky sauerkraut?
How about
Korean condiment.
how about evidence of Korean ferment? That would need a question mark too.
Okay.
Okay, how about Korean condiment? We don't want to get too clever.
Kind of like some.
Shade tree.
Type of mechanic, are people familiar with that phrase?
Yeah.
Shade tree mechanic?
Never heard of
Yeah.
that before.
Oh, it's like underspreading
Yeah.
chestnut tree, the
Well-
blacksmith does his thing.
It features
Yeah.
a lot of blues songs.
Chestnut or oak, for example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be where I
I
would,
know.
chestnut or
Okay.
Oceans.
scans, glass, seas.
Blank 11.
11,
That's a good one.
11, 12, or 13, I mean, how many of them?
Yeah.
have been so
Yeah,
far?
that's true.
I like her blank 11
I do
idea.
too, I think that's good.
Okay, so I should, if it's the
But
movie, I
as
should,
Steve said, it could be blank 11, comma, 12, comma, or 13, because there have been several movies. Or more.
or more. Nine.
Front or back?
Oh, ooh.
It's
Golf.
Oh.
Or we could say front or back in golf.
Golfers.
Yeah, you'd have to say golf.
Yeah.
Without the golf.
There's also 9 pins.
That would help.
Bygone News Agency, or,
Sure.
That's it, you want a P, not a T, I think.
Well, did we skip?
oh yes, yeah. My fault.
Oh, yes, you're right, you also skipped K
We
now.
skipped
Ah.
after J.
I would get picked up in the proofreading stage.
You should all know Steve is my proofreader in real life. N.
Of task. News agency.
Or Cold War news agency?
Or what?
Cold War, I just.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Slimy.
Blank
I like
Rockefeller.
Blank Rockefeller. Blank Rockefeller.
Blank Rockefeller.
I'd start with Nelson or something. John D.
Petty.
Happy.
Oh, yeah. Applesauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, blank applesauce.
Popular, well, in this case, you know, sometimes what I would do is go to Wikipedia and see when Mott's was, you know, applesauce brand since,
Yeah.
okay, Samantha's doing it.
We'll find it.
Clamato?
Clamato?
1842.
1842?
Samuel Armont of Bookville, New York.
No kidding, that's a good one.
It was founded in 1842. That's wild.
Hmm.
But it was officially named Mott's Inc. in 1986.
In 1886?
1842 is when it was founded. And that's what Wikipedia says. It was founded. They used to make apple cider and vinegar.
So we can go with the 1842.
Yeah.
We'll fact check that too.
Well, except the brand wasn't really founded then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think that makes the most
Okay.
sense.
All right, many possible Oklahoma clues. We,
Where the wind sweeps down the plain.
I was going to say where the corn is as high, where the wind sweeps gently.
Wind sweeps, well, you just say down the plain, you don't have to quote it, right? Where the wind sweeps down the plain.
Sweets, something down the
I'm going to just put down the plain.
Yes.
So that this is crossword shorthand, you know, and you say in song.
Ruckus.
Noise.
Din.
Din
For
racket.
noise, or the thing about ruckus is I always think there's a lot of motion attached to it as well, but maybe it's just noise.
You don't like ruckus?
It's a wonderful word.
Din.
There you go.
Thief.
To catch up.
Well, you could say petty here, petty blank, and then it'd be funny because the next thing is petty. A petty thief. right?
Petty blank, yeah.
Yeah. Or what did I just read about? Somebody referred to as a light-fingered Louis.
That's good, I like
Light-fingered one, or
pickpocket.
I like fingered something or other, it's a little more obscure.
Yeah.
White fingered one.
one kind of clue S. One kind of person in clue S.
Oh, that makes more sense. Petty thief. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh. Yeah.
Kind of,
Or you could just say clue S one or clue.
Type of clue S.
Small scale,
Small scale. C clue S.
Oh, geez, that would send me.
Right then.
All right, I'll leave it to you folks for an Elton John clue.
Rocket Man.
Oh, that's a great one. Just Rocket Man.
I don't think you need quotes for that, do you? No. Yeah.
One word or two?
It's all one, Rocket Man.
Really?
Is he known as Rocket Man? I don't think so.
The only
He's
one I
saying
can think of it.
No, it's 2 words, Rocket Man,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Learn something new every day.
Doesn't AKA mean that Elton John is known as Rocket Man?
Oh, he isn't?
Hmm?
He isn't?
I don't think
Yes,
so.
no.
Well, I
No.
mean, it's the song.
Just leave out the AKA.
About Rocket Man singer?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. Figure in many a British folk song.
Yeah.
Or a Scottish folk song.
Okay.
Rick's favorite recent television star. Actor.
Popular crossword puzzle name.
Yeah, what was his character in The Wire? I can't remember his name.
Yes, he was
Stringer Bell.
just Stringer.
Bell.
Yeah, Stringer Bell portrayer.
Yeah. I think it was Stringer Bell, wasn't it?
I'd have to consult the presenter.
And he's also Luther.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I couldn't watch.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Luther just freaked me out.
Yeah, so
Thank you for asking.
that gives you an out if you have no clue.
Yeah, it was
So Samantha, what was Easy A, it was
Well,
based
It
on?
was a modern Scarlet Letter type
Oh,
story with Emma Stone.
Scarlet Letter Rewrite?
Modern day Scarlet Letter
Sure.
rewrite.
Sounds like a good movie.
It's really funny.
modern day film rewrite.
I mean, it's like loosely based on it.
Yes,
It's funny.
if it takes place in high school, it has to be loosely based.
Do you want to give the actress's name, or is that too easy?
Um,
Did you say starring Emma Stone?
We'll see how much room we have.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Dorm Companion.
Dorm companion.
Felix Unger.
What-
Oh, yes.
Felix Unger.
Oh, Felix Unger. Felix Unger, for example.
Now you're dating yourself.
Yeah. We'll put both of them
Felix
in.
Unger was one.
Good.
All right.
The,
And now,
High school film rewrite of the Scarlet Letter.
high school version. I'll work it on.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to save this.
Good thing we didn't have more letters. We'd have to get into the double letter clues.
And the final step, which I'll just show you how it's done without taking up too much time, because a lot of it is grunt work. So now you need a layout program. And here's where I bring in let's see. Select that. This is also a program that's not supported by the latest version of Mac. So there's our grid.
I'll show you the approximation. That is-
And there is all the answers.
Wow.
So now it's just a matter of spacing and
Cosmetic stuff.
cosmetics. That's a good word for it, Mary.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. So it's all over but the proofreading. The cosmetics and then the proofreading, and it should be in the Argus in 2 weeks.
This one will actually show up,
Yeah.
but I won't be able to do it.
It'll be your cognitive test. Gee, this looks familiar, but
Yeah, I really never sort of.
This strikes me as a little easier than some.
yeah. So
You do know all the answers now.
No, I know, but just.
she has to
Might not have to go too many times to the internet
yeah.
Right.
to solve it, like I often do.
Questions, anybody?
What did people do before somebody put this program together?
Oh, I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah, that's important.
I got a set of magnetized little letters with a cookie sheet
Oh,
and moved everything around.
that sounds like fun.
And then that really hurts when you realize you've left out a letter. So,
Does sound like fun.
and then a lot of real grunt work, setting it up so that you don't put too many of the same clue letters in the same. Yeah, that's one of the conventions. You know, if a word is like huffing, and those are the only 2 F's you use, you don't want to use those 2 F's in the same word in the clue answers, because that would be too easy. All kinds of the little conventions.
What's the average time that it took to do that really?
To construct,
With your cookie sheet?
and the cookie sheet, it was nothing you could do in one sitting. Say, okay, I'll go back to that now and I'll leave it for tomorrow. Yeah, so this program changed what usually takes maybe 6 hours to 1 hour. So it was a godsend. And I'll put in a little plug for Henry Rathvon. He and Emily retired. They had a few jobs doing puzzles here and there. And then just last month, he started a Substack of humorous poetry. And he was the one responsible for those 2 Bob Dylan impersonations, parodies. And he loves poetic form, so he said, this is a rondel, and this is a... so the Substack is called Into the Words. So it's a lot of fun.
Rick, I've asked you this before, but I don't remember the answer. So I've always been intrigued that this program you use has not been maintained and is not supported on later versions of Mac OS. But there are still people constructing Crostic's.
Yeah.
And they're not doing it on cookie sheets.
Yeah.
So what is the
Well,
rest of the using?
that's what I'm curious about that too. So I could, maybe I'll go to the source, to Mike Schenk, who made this, yeah, and see what he says. I shouldn't say that the layout program is also not supported by my new laptop, unless I'm willing to spend $1,000 for the Adobe, the whole Adobe kit and caboodle.
Is
So,
it just called Crostic? Because there's one on Apple.
with an X.
But I think it's something different, the one on Apple.
No, yeah, this is a library of, if you
Okay.
want to do them.
Yeah, so I don't know where that one
Senior score.
is.
Somebody who's.
Oh, now it may be closer to this.
Free download. Free version.
Samantha's finding an
I don't
app.
know, well, I'm not gonna,
Yeah,
no, that's just, welcome to Crostic,
yeah.
it's free version. But they have sample puzzles, it's not the building tool.
Yeah.
So you have to find the building tool. You can probably just save it on a external hard drive and then just plug that into your new computer.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Is it spreadsheet based, can you tell, or can Steve tell?
No, it looks like it's constructed from scratch. It's not, it does not look like it's built on top of something else.
Okay, I sort of assumed it might have been built on Excel, but.
Well, when Rick first showed me this, I said, oh, I could probably build that in Excel, and then I thought about it again, and then, no. It's
Yeah.
way too complex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Rick, why do you do this?
Well, I have a different reason now
All right.
than I did
Why do you
last
do
year.
what you do now?
Now is to keep my mind off the news. But I just have always found that incredibly gratifying to do this. It's like doing a puzzle. You know, putting it together is another puzzle, and it's got all the little subtleties that you say, oh, I bet if I can do this and this and this.
And what else do you do when you're not doing this to fill up your day?
Well, I'm doing a Zoom film class. And teaching in person Monday mornings, but then on Zoom Thursday mornings. That really keeps me occupied. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.